is also the same area that is underneath the current severe thunderstorm warning. So outside of the areas of rotation being denoted, kind of around the Azen area, there are going to be some larger hailstones as well as wind gusts in excess of 60 miles an hour possible. So once again, if you live anywhere around the Azen area, up towards Farmington, even Acosto, you are going to be looking at the need to seek shelter at this hour because there is an active tornado warning in effect for those counties designated. Once again, Van Buren in southeast Iowa, and then Scotland County in northeast Missouri, specifically for areas around Azen all the way towards Acosto. So we are going to be continuing to monitor this and track this as we go through the next hour. Once again, severe thunderstorm warning and a tornado warning in effect until 6 p.m. for northeastern Scotland County and southern and southeastern Van Buren County at this hour. It is moving from areas around Azen to the north and east at roughly 20 to 25 miles an hour. So this is going to continue to push through the areas designated. Actually, now it's up to about 30 miles an hour for a storm motion. So once again, folks, right here from Azen, that's where the rotation is being denoted, moving to the north and east towards Acosto, towards Plymouth. So yeah, right here, this is the area of heightened rotation, and unfortunately, we are not getting the clearest example of a ground image due to our the nature of where we're at, where we're in what we call the radar hole, because we're looking well up into the atmosphere. We're seeing this really tightened area of elevated rotation that can be mixing down to the ground. So this is a radar indicated tornado, not a confirmed one. When the box goes purple, that means it is a confirmed tornado on the ground. But as it is right now, it is just the typical red tornado radar indicated warning box. So please do seek shelter if you live along the Scotland County and Van Buren County borderlines here, as well as towards areas like Farmington and Van Buren County, Acosto here, towards Clark County. And then, of course, if you live anywhere north and east of Azen County at this hour, you do need to be seeking shelter, as this is a tornado warning in effect until 6 p.m. this evening. Once again, moving at roughly 30 miles an hour to the north and east. So that is going to take it into areas like Acosto, Farmington to the north of there in the next about 30 minutes before it starts to push off to the east towards places like Plymouth, Sharon, and then continuing out here further east towards Houghton and Donaldson. So once again, areas right here to the north and east of Azen in Scotland County, Missouri, you need to be seeking shelter at this hour, whether that is in a basement, a storm shelter. If neither of those are available, the most interior room of your home, placing as many walls between yourself and the outside as possible. Now, if any of our, if Hagen up in the newsroom is watching right now, could you get the alert out on our storyline? So thank you, everybody, once again. Tornado warning in effect until 6 p.m. this evening, stretching from Azen towards places like Acosto, Plymouth, Athens, Farmington here in Van Buren County as well, Scotland County and Van Buren County. You are the two areas that are currently underneath this tornado warning. Just taking a glance over here to any of the new messages from our National Weather Service office. This is likely going to extend into Clark County, Missouri as well, but actively at this hour, the area of rotation is most likely right here, just to the east-northeast of the city of Azen in Scotland County, Missouri. This is moving to the north and east at roughly 30 miles an hour, so getting a little bit of a motion on that. Areas like Bonaparte, Iowa, just before 6 p.m., but places like Farmington, you'll be looking at that in just about the same amount of time. Southeast of the city of Cantrell, this is looking to just kind of skirt the edge of that city, so you'll want to seek shelter for those locations anyway. Mount Sterling as well. If you live in the Mount Sterling area, you are going to want to seek shelter at this hour, as this is going to be moving in your direction as it pulls its way out of Azen, north of Prospect Grove, places along State Highway P in Scotland County, Missouri. You want to be seeking shelter at this time. Folks on 300th Road in southern Van Buren County in Iowa, you also want to be seeking shelter at this time. Looking at, as it's moving to the north and east, once again, highlighted area of rotation is going to be seen right here, just east, northeast of the city of Azen, just south of where we have the State Highway P logo here in Scotland County. So Once again, throwing the reflectivity back on there. Here we have a little bit of what would look like a hook. You have some inflow here on the eastern side of all this red. This is likely where we are going to be seeing any potential rotation reaching towards the surface. Once again, folks, this is a radar indicated tornado. Once the polygon or that red shape here goes purple, that means it's a confirmed tornado on the ground. That is not the case right now. This is a radar indicated tornado warned storm that is working its way to the north and east, just outside of the city limits of Azen, working its way towards Mount Sterling. Again, folks in Mount Sterling, that's in southern Van Buren County, you're going to want to seek shelter immediately at this time, as it is moving in your direction north and west of the city of Costo as well, eventually working its way up towards like Bonaparte, Farmington, Anson as well. So moving to the north and east at 30 miles an hour, looking to push into areas like Bonaparte and Farmington in the span of about 30 minutes. So about 5:50 was the timeline that they were expecting it to see the cell to move into areas around Bonaparte and Farmington. So back to the south and west, places like Mount Sterling, this is going to be rolling through in the next 10 to 15 minutes. So you do need to take this opportunity, get into your safe space once again, whether that's a basement, a storm shelter. If you have neither of those options available, finding the most interior room of your home, putting as many walls between yourself and the outside as possible, preferably a room that has no windows to the exterior, but also if you have the opportunity to grab something like a blanket, a pillow, any kind of cushion that you can place over your head to protect your neck and head from any kind of debris. Again, this is a radar indicated tornado warning for areas of rotation denoted right here to the north and east of the city of Azen, moving to the north and east at about 30 miles an hour. No confirmed tornado is on the ground, but we will be watching this closely as it continues to work its way through parts of our viewing area. And folks, there are still some more storms developing off to the south and west. So this might not be the only round of storms you will deal with this evening as this front slowly churns its way across the area. It's going to take some time for these storms to completely get out of our viewing area. But once that front does pass and that cold air starts to kind of undercut things, that is going to begin to decrease the threat for severe weather. So it's the folks on the southern edge of our Iowa viewing area and the eastern side of our Missouri viewing area that are still effectively in what we would call the warm sector, the warmest parts of our region, the warmest parts of the heartland where we have the best environmental conditions. So looking at a bit of a split in between these two cells, but this is the portion of the cell where that rotation was indicated on radar earlier and what triggered the tornado warning to go out. So again, moving to the north and east towards places like Mount Sterling, eventually towards places like Farmington, Bonaparte as well, kind of south and east of the city of Cantrell, north and east now of the city of Azen in Scotland County. So this is going to be in effect until 6 p.m. this evening. And as of right now, working its way here right along the Missouri and Iowa border here, the Scotland County and Van Buren County borders right there is where we're likely going to be looking at the rotation kind of pushing its way to the north and east. Let's go ahead and take another look here at the rotation on radar. So looking at things mixing out a little bit, not as bright and green of a indicator that we saw just a couple minutes ago on the previous scans, like you see here, where you have the very bright coupling of the winds. So starting to see might be a little bit of a weakening in the cells, zooming this out. Once again, folks, there are more cells developing off to the south and west. So these are all continuing to move in the same direction. These are going to continue to push off to the south and east. And we have future cells that are continuing to develop off to the south and west, moving in the same direction. So folks here in Scotland County and Van Buren County who are right now the only areas underneath the current tornado warning, this is not going to be the only cell that will likely work its way through. Could be the only severe cell that does, but at this point, you need to be cautious as you're in an area where the environment is enough to provide a chance at a tornado to develop. It might not be sufficiently worked over just due to this one cell moving through, meaning we could see some of these cells back to the south and west ramping up a little bit as they start to push into that region. But again, right now, here we have our one active tornado warning. It is a radar indicated. It is not a confirmed tornado on the ground, but we do encourage everyone to act like it is. If you are in the polygon, yes, it's not a confirmed tornado on the ground, but we're asking you to act like it is because it could put one down at any moment. But to clarify, again, once this polygon goes purple, that would be a confirmed tornado on the ground. But right now we still have just the red polygon, which is the radar indicated tornado cell working its way to the north and east. Zooming back in, areas up towards Mount Sterling, you do need to be in shelter at this time. Folks along 300th Road as well, you need to be seeking shelter at this time, as it is going to be moving in your direction here shortly. So that is going to be pushing towards areas along Laurel Road, County Road 156 in Van Buren County, currently working its way along State Highway P in northeast Missouri, north and east of the city of Azen. So right up here, right along the Missouri and Iowa border is where we have the active tornado warning in effect until 6 p.m. this evening. And we have some large hailstones being seen on radar on the northern side of this as well. So even folks outside of where the area of rotation is being noted, you are looking at some larger hailstones as well as some stronger wind gusts on the order of about 50 to roughly 60 or so miles an hour. Once again, moving it to the north and east at 30 miles an hour. This is going to be moving into places like Mount Sterling, Acosto, eventually up towards Bonaparte, and then Farmington as well. Places like Anson and Athens, you are underneath the tornado warning. But it is looking to pass to your north at this this evening. Again, the main threat area is going to be up here right along the Missouri and Iowa border, in and around areas south of Mount Sterling up to the Missouri and Iowa border, so working towards Acosto. Folks who may live along County Road J56 here in southeast Iowa towards 290th Street out west of the city of Farmington, and then Pearl Avenue as well west of Acosto along State Highway P in northeast Missouri. And once again, we have two areas of some larger hailstones kind of splitting where the area of rotation was denoted. Seen a slight jump in the rotation marker here, where maybe a little bit of some tightening, but still no indication that this is putting one actively on the ground. We haven't had any reports coming in from those areas through the National Weather Service channels of a confirmed tornado on the ground. But again, areas from Cantrell to Azen, Acosto, Farmington, Plymouth, Bonaparte, you want to be seeking shelter at this hour. Mount Sterling as well, you want to be seeking shelter at this hour, as this is a radar indicated tornado warning. So we need to act like it is a tornado on the ground. Just make sure you are getting into your safe space. Once again, those safe spaces are going to be, of course, first and foremost, a storm shelter, a storm cellar, or a basement. And if those are unavailable, putting as many finding the most interior room of your home, placing as many walls between yourself and the outside as possible, preferably a room that does not have any windows to the exterior. So again, right here is where we are going to be watching closely for any kind of potential touchdown. But as of right now, that is not has not happened. But again, folks from Mount Sterling towards Acosto and back to the west here, really right along the northern tier of Scotland and Clark County, Missouri, and then of course the southern and southeastern portion of our Van Buren County residents, you need to be seeking shelter at this hour. Folks, back off to the south and west. Folks that are not currently underneath the tornado warning and are not underneath any of the severe thunderstorm warnings, there are still storms developing back off to the south and west. There are still storms expected to grow and move into the area through the next couple of hours, but as of right now, the main focus for where we've had our severe weather threats have all been right out here towards the Missouri, Iowa, and Illinois triple point. This is where storms have repeatedly gone into severe categories from earlier this afternoon, with multiple severe thunderstorm warnings stretching from Scotland County, Missouri, up through Van Buren County into Henry County and even southern and eastern Jefferson County. This looks to be the hot spot right now, where the environment is just in a much better state than especially off to the north and west. Folks up here into areas around Sheraton, Centerville, Ottumwa, you're not out of the woods yet, but because the colder air is filling in faster than your neighbors to the south and east, that's likely going to undercut the ability for severe weather to become severe weather to grow exponentially. But at least we cannot rule out an isolated stronger storm or two in those areas through the next couple of hours. But since that front is moving through and that cold air is spilling in, it is going to do a lot to help quell the development of any future stronger storms in those areas. back here to the west, to the south and east, we are still in what we would call the warm sector. It's still very, very mild out there, and the dew points are high, meaning the environment is in a good shape. But once again, right there, right along the Missouri and Iowa borders is where we've got that ongoing tornado warning as well as severe thunderstorm warning. This is again in effect until 6 p.m. this evening. From what I've seen, no indication yet on whether they are going to expand it, expire it early, or just allow it to run its course and let it expire at 6 p.m. But kind of getting it washed out here with using our closest radar site available, the Davenport radar site. But again, right along the Missouri and Iowa border is where we are likely seeing that area of rotation. So folks around the Mount Sterling area, Costo as well, and then moving towards places like Farmington, even areas north and west of the city of Anson in Clark County, Missouri, you are going to want to seek shelter at this time. I would say folks in northeastern Scotland County, this is going to be exiting your area in the next 5 or so minutes, and we'll likely see the tornado warning being trimmed from the Scotland County viewing area in the next 5 to 10 minutes as this cell continues to push its way off to the north and east. And as that happens, we'll then, end the coverage for our Scotland County residents, but we'll be focusing then on coverage for our Van Buren County residents. So once again, singular tornado warning in effect until 6 p.m. for far northeastern Scotland County, basically on its way out of Scotland County at this time. It's going to be then going into effect for areas of Clark County, Missouri, along the Missouri and Iowa border. And then, of course, it is going to be in effect for the southern and eastern half of our Van Buren County viewers. So places like Acosta, again, Mount Sterling, up towards Bonaparte, back towards Farmington, and areas shaded here to the west. This is where we have the active tornado warning at this hour. It's also within a severe thunderstorm warning. So once again, in the next 5 to 10 minutes, we'll likely see the western edge of this tornado warning being trimmed out of Scotland County, but then it's going to focus more so on Clark County, Missouri, and then Van Buren County in southeast Iowa. So moving to the north and east, still roughly at about 30 miles an hour. It's going to be making its way towards places like Farmington, up towards Bonaparte as well in the next about 30 minutes or so. So of course, if you do live in those areas and you haven't sought shelter just yet, I advise you please take the opportunity now, get to your safe space, whether that is a basement, a storm shelter, or of course, if none of those are available, the most interior room of your home, putting as many walls between yourself and the exterior as possible, preferably a room that does not have any windows to the exterior. And if you have the time, grabbing a pillow, a blanket, a mattress, something that you can put over your head and shoulders to protect yourself from any kind of debris. Now, with that being said, this is not a confirmed tornado on the ground, but it is a radar indicated tornado warning, meaning we need to act like it is going to place one down at any moment, because that is a possibility for us. So continuing to see this moving off to the north and east, 2 distinct cells, but it's this northern one that is the one that triggered the tornado warning. And that is going to be the main area of focus. So likely see areas south of Harrisburg towards Farmington. That's going to include Bonaparte, and then back to the south and west towards Mount Sterling, this is likely actively moving through that area at this moment. And then north of Acosta, continuing to push towards areas like Farmington, and that's going to be along like County Road J56 in Van Buren County in southeast Iowa, places like Pearl Road there around the city of Mount Sterling, and then continuing it further east as we go through the next about half hour to 45 minutes. So just getting an idea on what they have going on. So last update at 5:33 was a continuation of the tornado warning for Scotland, Clark, and Van Buren. But once again, in the next about 5 to 10, we'll likely see Scotland County being removed from the tornado warning, as it is going to be exiting that area. Still more storms developing off to the south and west here, and of course we'll be watching those closely. But overall, main threat area is going to be southeast of Keosauqua towards Plymouth, north of Acosta. That is where we have our active tornado warning in effect, and it's likely going to be moving through areas around Acosta up towards Farmington, here Bonaparte as well, likely now pushing east of Mount Sterling. So if you live anywhere from the Van Buren County and Scotland County lines to the north and east up to about Bonaparte, anywhere within these shaded regions. That's going to be along 200th Street, 270th Street, 272nd Street, out here towards County Road J56. We got Pearl Avenue here just east of Mount.
As it moves across eastern Van Buren County and also northern and northwestern Clark County.
Lots of lightning with this too,
Lots of lightning straddling Highway 2 on both the north and the southern sides, west, slightly northwest of Farmington. And we're getting a little bit more of a signature right around Highway 2. If there is anything, it'd be crossing Highway 2 now. Let's see if we can zoom in on that, just to the southwest of Bonaparte.
Just southwest of Bonaparte, and to the northwest, it looks like a Farmington.
Right. And let's see what the velocity shows. That's showing up a little bit more on the velocity mode here. But again, there's nothing definitive. There's a lot of bad data coming in from that. It's hard to discern what's valid and what's not valid, but definitely there's some sort of signature going on there. So we'll flip it back over. Yeah, this is a little bit more.
It's a little bit more there now.
A little bit more well defined there. Again, we're talking about crossing Highway 2. There's no other road
appearing on the map
that we can zoom in on. It's right almost at the bend. If you're heading north and then west on Highway 2 across southeastern Iowa, south of Bonaparte, you know exactly what I'm talking about right there. So again, if you were just joining us, the National Weather Service office out of the Quad Cities has issued a tornado warning in effect till 6 o'clock tonight. Radar at 5:16 indicated a severe thunderstorm that was capable of producing a tornado, which means it was showing rotation about 10 miles northeast of Memphis, moving northeasterly at about 30 miles an hour. If you have not sought refuge in a basement or interior room or the lowest floor of a sturdy building, you need to, and of course, avoid windows, stay away from electrical appliances, get yourself sheltered from flying debris if there is any associated with this particular thunderstorm. And once again, we're seeing lots of electrical activity associated with it. Lightning caused by the friction of hail, and there must be quite a bit of hail associated with that thunderstorm. So now they issued a new severe thunderstorm warning.
Let me check.
Or is
yes, they did.
Okay.
Looks like it. At 5:41 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located near Vernon, moving northeast at 30 miles an hour. Hazards are 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Impacts: hail damage to vehicles is expected. Expect wind damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Now, we are seeing continuous cloud-to-ground lightning occurring with this storm, so you need to make sure that you are indoors, of course, during this storm.
All right, looks like we got an update with that tornado warning as well. It's interesting how these warnings overlap, so it kind of gets a little confusing. But the big focus is on the possibility of an embedded tornado with this heavy rainfall to the west of 100th Avenue in southeastern Iowa. So if you're near Farmington to the north or slightly to the south of Farmington, you need to be in your place of safety. We are have noted some sort of signature. This would be just to the southeast of Bonaparte now. It's not quite definitive, but the National Weather Service in the Quad Cities, and as well as we, are seeing the same indications here of what could be a tornado, but there hasn't been any visual confirmation of this.
Yeah, I'm looking right now to see if there's any new updates.
We'll put it back on reflectivity. This shows you the intense rainfall.
Okay. They just sent out a new update about this tornado warning. Tornado warning remains in effect until 6 p.m. for southeastern Van Buren and north central Clark counties. This thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Bonaparte, or 9 miles southeast of
Keosauqua,
Keosauqua,
yeah.
yes.
All right, that's basically what we were just looking at.
Yep.
All right, so they're seeing the same thing we are. There we are, and we'll go ahead and put that back on. There's that signature once more. I'll highlight it here. Boom. That's the suspect, if you will. So if you're anywhere in this area to the northeast of the bend on Highway 2, yeah, you need to be in your safety spot, preferably below ground or in a safe room.
Away from any exterior walls. Like
Yes,
a
away
bathroom,
from
for
exterior
example.
walls, anything in the way of windows. And I say appliances, and people laugh at me. It's like, why? Well, because lightning can come in
Exactly.
and get you when you ain't looking. So this in association with a large cluster, nothing too terribly organized here, but we are kind of monitoring the progression. Far eastern Iowa, north of Burlington, south and southwest of Fort Madison. That's just a thunderstorm, nothing in the way of severe weather associated with that. Torrential rainfall just to the south of Farmington. That'd be south of Highway 2 and just east of Highway 81
Yeah.
as it makes its way off to the northeast. So that'll be crossing 100th Avenue here very shortly. And we will go ahead and see if we can get back on.
Still a lot of lightning.
There's still quite a bit of lightning. Now more associated around Bonaparte and in that northern area of that particular thunderstorm. There we go. It's broadened out just a bit, but that signature is still there just southeast of Bonaparte, west of 100th Avenue, as this continues to progress off to the northeast. So again, with tornado warnings, we stay with it until the warning itself is canceled
or expired.
Expired. Yep.
Let's see velocity.
Real weak velocity
Yeah.
signatures here, but we get it back on the SRV2 layer.
Okay.
So
SRV stands for storm relative velocity, for those who are wondering.
thank you. We'll just put it back on the rain.
It's just another way we look at velocity.
Yep. Heavy rainfall now moving through Farmington, now almost to your east, crossing 100th Avenue. That'd be a gully washer, that's for sure. And so the most intense of this storm appears to be now east of Bonaparte, moving into the eastern portion of the warned area. Again, this is kind of shrunk, but the Quad Cities office is still monitoring the situation here as we are and kind of staying with it.
Mm-hmm. Let me see if there's any new updates or any other spotter reports.
So there we go. The signature has kind of broadened out just a bit. It's
Yeah.
not as definitive as it was just a short time ago.
Do you want to try circling it on radar too to show people where exactly
Sure.
this is?
This is all this bright red area, not the dark red, but the bright red.
Okay.
So it started out as a very small signature like that, and then it's broadened out. So as it broadens out, it begins to weaken just a bit. And it may be entirely gone. It may still be there. Sometimes these things die down and then they flare back up again. But again, we're not looking at anything absolute definitive because there's a lot of garbage that's being mixed in with it. Now it looks like they've expanded a severe thunderstorm warning,
Let's see.
and here we go. Northwestern Lee County, severe thunderstorm over Farmington, 14 miles southeast of Keosauqua, moving northeast at 35 miles an hour. So it heads up West Point, Donaldson, Franklin, St. Paul, Pilot Grove, Denmark, Houghton, Augusta, Mount Hamill, anywhere near the Lee County Fairgrounds. You know where you are. Sawyer, Primrose, Wilson Lake, Paul Miller Park, and the Battle of Athens campground. So that's a pretty stout area, but that's for this one particular cell, which again had the tornadic signature on it, but they haven't updated anything on that yet.
I do want to mention with this severe thunderstorm warning for Lee County that they just issued, they did put in a tornado possible tag with that.
Okay.
It says here, remain alert for a possible tornado. Tornadoes can develop quickly from severe thunderstorms. If you spot a tornado, go at once into the basement or a small central room in a sturdy structure.
And I also may bring up, looks like they have
just
canceled
yes.
that tornado warning. So again, the tornado warning has been now canceled, but we are monitoring the progression of that one particular cell for this new severe thunderstorm warning valid till 6:30 for Lee County in southeast Iowa. We're going to send it back to regular programming if we will. We'll have further updates during our 6 o'clock news get-together.